History and Headlocks. Class is in session.
We are back.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, the last time you saw us, we gave our review for AEW Double or Nothing 2026. And we've had like a mini break, mini vacation, but not too long to where we're back on schedule with History and Headlocks.
Yeah.
All right, how are you doing today on this hot weekend?
Yeah, it's hot out there. I was actually outside doing some stuff and whew, made sure my AC was on. Thank God for smart plugs.
Yes.
Okay, thank God for smart plugs because right from the phone, you could turn your AC on no matter where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back home to a nice cool apartment, ready to go. How are you? How was your
I
day?
am doing good. I've been on overtime for my job this last couple of weeks
Yes.
until the end of the month. But I will say this might be the first time I ever encountered something very strange, very odd in the sense of when I was waiting for the bus.
Mhm.
Somebody, I couldn't tell who, couldn't identify them as a male or female, but was dressed up in full ghost face attire with an umbrella.
Okay then.
Yeah, and I know Scary Movie is out now, the newest one, but
Hmm.
just looking at that made me hot and sweat because I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, because if you're wearing the mask and the full long like robe,
Mm-hmm.
whew, yeah, that's gotta be something else. I mean, who knows? I could have been some sort of independent promoting like random ghost face throughout the city. Maybe I haven't heard anything about that, but you never know.
Right. Meanwhile, my first thought was, "Oh, my time has come."
The Grim Reaper's here for me.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh my god, it's actually true. I'm actually gonna die right now."
Like, no, Mike, no, you're good, Mike. You're good.
Yes, but class is back in session as the background. There we go. Load.
Yeah, it's
Jesus
it's
Christ, this
it's, it's
stupid.
summer school. Summer school.
Yeah, and funny enough that my mom works at a high school, and today they just had their graduation today. So if you are graduating by the time of this episode, congratulations to the class of
Congrats,
2026, and
guys.
holy shit!
Yeah.
I mean, class of 2020, 2014 for me. That's almost 12. That's 12 years ago for me.
Yeah.
You want
I
to
am.
share?
Yeah, I'm class of 1998, guys.
Jesus.
That was a good. I know. Listen, let me tell you. The other day, I saw someone post a reel that they graduated also in 1998, and they were doing their 28-year reunion party.
Mm-hmm.
28. My God, you don't know. Like my soul left my body for a little bit when that realization hit me, and I'm like, oh my God, that means that in 2 years it's going to be 30 years that I've graduated high school. How? How? It feels like I just graduated high school.
Time is really flying by.
Oh God, it's scary. It
Right.
is scary. But you know what? 1998 was a really good year overall. You know, Attitude Era was attituding. The world was peaceful.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have technology trying to take over the world like AI and robotics and all this stuff. You know, it was a good time.
If we're 98, so we're 2 years off from the Y2K.
Right.
I'm trying to think. Not for that we should. This would be like one of those good times for like this week in wrestling, but like 98. I'm trying to think. Maybe like what would be the top song or in 98? Like who was popular around this time?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna Google that right now before we start
Yeah.
our. Let's
Yeah.
see. Top song in 1998.
Mm-hmm. And this is back in the era for everybody that's watching or listening on the podcasting outlets. There was a thing called CDs and radios.
Yeah. Yeah, and cassettes still too. Cassettes still existed.
Really? Oh
Walkman,
yeah.
Walkmans, and then the CD man.
Mm.
So the number one song of 1998 on the Billboard Year-End Hot 100 was "Too Close" by Next, the nightclub song.
Mm.
Yeah. And then other massive hits dominating the charts the same year included "The Boy Is Mine" by Brandy and Monica and "You're Still the One" by Shania Twain.
See, they sound familiar, but I think I need to hear them to
You would,
fully
yeah,
remember.
definitely. Yeah, here's the list.
Well,
Wow.
the,
Wow.
I'm trying. I'm also trying to guess what movie was probably the top of the charts.
Oh, yeah, 1998. Top movie of 1998. Top movie in 1998.
I don't want to try and make a guess because I'm probably gonna think of a movie that's probably like way off. But
Oh, I got it. I mean, if you want to guess it, go ahead.
can I at least get a hint?
It it had to do with space.
Was it Star Wars movie?
No.
Spaceballs.
Oh no, that was the 80s, buddy.
Oh really? Okay. See, yeah. Yeah,
It was it was Armageddon.
oh right, yeah, that was space.
Willis and yeah,
It was Willis and Affleck, right?
Ben Affleck and uh, the big song that came off that soundtrack, Aerosmith. Don't want to miss a thing.
Mm,
That everybody loved so much.
yeah,
God, yeah, I remember that now. That song was one of the number one songs when I was in high school.
yeah. You know what's also interesting about 1998 is going to be going back to our wrestling topic today. Was that was the year that this wrestling company had its highest and then went down to its lowest.
Correct.
They went from number one wrestling company to pretty much slowly going down a hill towards bankruptcy, being out of business, people losing their jobs, unfortunately. But everybody, today's history lesson is WCW, World Championship Wrestling.
Oh
So,
yeah, what a time! What a time!
yeah, we've talked about in the past. We talked about ECW. We talked about the Attitude Era. I'm trying to think. Like we've done a couple of stuff.
The
Couple like we've
golden,
done the Hogan Era, the New
golden era,
Generation.
right? New generation, the golden era.
Yeah, but now we're gonna look at the opposite of World Wrestling Federation, which was the company down south called WCW. And
Yes.
Ari, if you could please explain to everybody how WCW came to be.
Yeah. So back in 1988, Vince McMahon's WWF was expanding nationwide by raiding other territories for their top talent with really big salaries. They were securing national cable contracts, and they were just outbidding local promotions for their primetime TV slots. So this expansion really forced a lot of the small territories to try to adapt to this new world that wrestling was entering, right?
Yeah.
So the biggest of these territories was Jim Crockett Promotions, and they were the heart and soul of the National Wrestling Alliance, or the NWA. And their TV shows were broadcasted on TBS Superstation under the name World Championship Wrestling. But behind the scenes, Crockett was really drowning financially. They were trying to catch up with McMahon and WWF. So Jim Crockett Jr. had started buying up some of the smaller promotions. He purchased a private jet so that he could fly the talent around. And, they were also trying to run these really expensive pay-per-view events outside of the South. So by late 1988, these massive overhead costs and poor ticket sales left the company buried in millions of dollars in debt, and they were basically facing bankruptcy. So Ted Turner, who we know is the big billionaire media mogul, he
Hmm.
wasn't necessarily a wrestling fan, but he loved high TV ratings. And wrestling was the highest rated show on TBS, which he owned.
Hmm.
So if Crockett were to go bankrupt, that means that his station would lose its biggest audience draw. So in November 1988, Turner bought Jim Crockett Promotions, and they rebranded it as World Championship Wrestling.
Hmm.
So over the next few years, the new corporate backing changed everything. So WCW slowly phased out the NWA name. In 1991, they crowned Ric Flair as the very first WCW World Heavyweight Champion, and by 1993, they cut ties with the NWA entirely. So Ted Turner, who we know recently just passed away, may he rest in peace. He inadvertently built a machine that would nearly put Vince McMahon out of business a whole decade later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just two follow-up questions. Because one, I know I've heard about this, but the Vince Jr. thing, buying all the territories, he did that against his father's wishes, right? Because his father said, "Don't do that," and he did it anyway.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I think Vince Senior was really a traditionalist with territory, but Vince Junior saw dollar signs and wanted to, as we always saw him be, is just be on top of everything. He wanted to be the big dog.
Right. Because I think Vince Senior was on the board for the NWA, and like he'd be one of the people that votes on who would be the world champion.
Yes, correct. Because WWF, I believe, was part of the National Wrestling Alliance. Yes.
Right. Because I remember Flair mentioned that in a promo years later, saying that to his son, "Big, not for nothing, your father picked me to be champion." Right? So that's and another thing too is that arguably the best wrestling belt, the big gold, that money came out of Flair's pocket, correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
Because they did still, because once they separated from the NWA, they needed their own championship, and thus the big gold was created. But
yes.
I mean, would you agree that the big gold is probably the best wrestling belt design?
Oh, aesthetically, it's gorgeous. I mean, good. Look at the size of the thing. First of all, it's like a freaking platter.
Right. It's the big gold for a reason.
Yeah, it's a big gold belt. I mean, when you really look at the design of it, it's absolutely intricate. You got the crusted jewels. It's gorgeous. And I think right now the closest thing we have that could be as beautiful maybe is the AEW belt, because that belt is incredible. And the belts on Raw.
Yeah. Yeah. But as far as like the early days for WCW, it still had some remnants of the old NWA, where you had Flair and the Horsemen, you had the Road Warriors, the Midnights, the Rock and Roll Express, a lot of those guys who stuck around, and then you started to see some newer faces, pretty much the next crop of guys that would main event for the next decade.
Yeah.
Guys like Cactus Jack, Mean Mark Callis, Mr. Terrorizing.
Yeah.
Stunning Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Like, crazy to think, like, just when you see before and after pictures, it's like night and day for some of them.
Yeah, they evolved so much aesthetically.
But just to see them being like on the lower tier card with the whole main event scene at that point, and the tag division really early on, looking back on it, was most unique because Legion not the Legion, Road Warriors, their proper names.
Yeah.
The Steiners, Doom, Ron Simmons, and Butch Reed, like those guys, like monsters like them. But then you had like the Midnights with Jim Cornette, the Rock and Roll. I don't think of anybody else. That's the Freebirds.
Freebirds, yes.
Yeah, and also this is your territory, I would say, but the hairdos on all these men,
the big mullets, the big bleached out hair color, fried as hell. The bigger the better. I mean, like they say, in the South, is the higher the hair, the closer to God.
But also too, when you look at them by their face, they look older than what they were.
So much older.
Because I mean, like if you take 1990 for example, if you take a look at like Michael Hayes and you see how he looks, that dude's only 31 at that point.
He was young. He looked like he was already like mid 40s, pushing 50.
The Road had owned him.
Yeah, Arn Anderson.
Yeah, Flair too, I would say. This is Flair who would wrestle like years and years and years after this.
Flair always is so funny. My mother used to think Flair was way older than her, but he's actually way younger than her. And she used to be like, No, I don't believe that. She would get so angry when you would remind her that Ric Flair is younger than her. How old is he now? 75 or something like that?
I mean, shit, he has to be getting close to 80 at this point
Yeah,
nowadays.
yeah. No, I'm curious.
I would say mid 70s is my guess,
Definitely
which
was.
seems right.
Yeah, Ric
But
Flair. So, it's so sometimes they're kind of ageless after a while to you. 77.
yeah.
My mom's
I
in her
mean,
80s, so
so like he was like so like we're talking like 1990. So Flair was on top, and Hogan was at top on top at that point too, and he died in his mid 70s too.
yeah,
Not
yeah. So
two,
they were
but
probably,
you
I
know
would
what I mean.
say around that time. So if he's 77 now, 1990 was 36 years. So he was in his early 40s.
Yeah,
Still young.
right. I mean, there was a very complete there was a noticeable difference in the WWF and WCW. And what I mean is
Oh yes.
physically looking at everybody because WWF is where the big this is gonna be a phrase I have to often repeat, but where the big boys played because the WWF
Right.
all of them were huge muscles.
Muscles.
WCW had guys that had muscles, but it was like smaller dudes. In
Yes,
this
they
in
were.
the case for Flair, Brian Pillman.
They're right.
I mean, and
Height wise, they weren't super tall men either.
the only one muscular was Lex Luger.
Lex Luger, Sid
Yeah,
Vicious,
Sid was tall, and then
big tall dude.
I'm, I mean we can't talk about WCW because we can't talk about WCW without talking about the person they built. Pretty much their version of what John Cena would later become, or like what people would try and reimagine
Yeah.
years down the line, by a guy named Steve Borden, also better known as Sting, where beach blonde, weird looking rat tail thing on the back of his head, but face paint on, colorful too,
Colorful tights.
and he just scream and howl. Like, what was your
Yeah.
first off? What was your first impressions of Sting? Because we're gonna do our own. We're gonna do our Sting retrospective episode. But first impression of him, like, do you think he would have been? He was the perfect guy to pretty
Ah,
much give the moniker of the face of the company.
yeah, I loved Sting. He was for me like he was the Bret Hart of WCW, at the time, right? So I just absolutely loved him. Like like exactly what you said, the colorful personality that he had, the look that he had, and he was just so fun to watch in the ring. And he was just that good guy, always defending WCW against the bad guys, and he was just the fan favorite. Kids loved him. How can you not love this walking cartoon character, right? So he was my favorite. I'll always be my favorite in WCW.
What always made it work for him too was that Flair was his opposite.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sting
rebel.
was the goody goody who would always fight for the good right,
Right.
and then you had this egotistical Flair that would like spend all this money on the shoes, on the suits,
Yeah.
and when occasionally he could make it a joke where how many women he'd be sleeping with every night,
Right.
and pretty
Yeah.
much
Last Mountain.
it's kind of like funny enough, like we mentioned this in the AEW review where like MJF and Darby are perfect for each other. That's pretty much Sting and Flair, a modern Sting and Flair.
That's a great analogy, right? Because you have Ric Flair, like you said, he was the wheeling, dealing, sophisticated, rich, you know, uh, narcissistic, and everything revolved around him, and the women would flaunt to him. And then you had Sting, who was just this kind of like maybe a black sheep in a way. He was just fun. He wasn't about that kind of life. He just wanted to go in and just have fun in the ring.
Right.
Surfer.
Was there anybody at that time, looking back on it, do you think that could have maybe been a solid number two or number three behind the Sting?
I mean, obviously Lex Luger was pretty much the number two behind Sting.
I
He was
always felt, but he was always better off as a heel. I always thought.
maybe, yeah. His look definitely fit the heel persona because, especially when he was the narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the great body, great, handsome man. It worked, but he was a big face of WCW. People really loved him too down there.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, so he definitely would have. I mean, I think he would be considered the number two face.
Mm-hmm.
He also did a lot of work with Sting as well. They teamed up a lot, even though there were some moments of tension between them, but they always ended.
They always had their moments.
They always had their moments, right? But they always ended up pairing up for the good fight.
Right. And it's funny too, because I think in real life they're best friends or gym buddies,
Right.
which makes sense for why they had so much good chemistry. But as far as maybe looking back on who could have had a proper try as a number two, Brian Pillman at that time.
Yeah, he could have definitely. Yeah.
I think just his crux was that he was on the smaller side.
He was on the smaller side, but it also worked for him because he did things differently. He was the high flyer, and people love to see that. He would come in, Flying Brian, right? It was in his name,
Yeah.
with his little tiger print tights, and he would come into the ring and he would put on a spectacle, and it was fun. It was another one that was fun to watch, and he cut really good promos. When he just him speaking, because he had such a unique tone to his voice, he stood out just with that.
Right.
Former football player, so a lot of the football fans could gravitate to him with that if they remembered him. I think he played for the Bengals, I believe, which is why he wore the tiger print tights as a
tribute to that.
homage to his football days. Yeah.
And you mentioned Brett earlier, and he went up to Canada and trained up there. Got to work with Stampede, and then got a job in WCW.
Right. Yeah.
But I will say that the Flying Brian moniker definitely held him back, because that's kind of you're pretty much just saying listen, we know he's small. This is how far he's gonna go.
Yeah.
But
it sounded cute because it rhymed to Flying Brian.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at a 1990 Brian to say 96, 97, loose cannon Brian Pillman, where he's I'm gonna rip out my Johnson. You're this is not the same dude.
It was night and day. It was almost like, who is this, and what did they do with Flying Brian? That's how it felt.
Yeah, I know it was a tragedy when he got into that big Humvee accident, but it's definitely a flip. A switch was flipped in his brain.
It did. But, it needed to happen. Because, like you said, the Flying Brian gimmick could only last for so long.
Yeah. There was a ceiling to it.
And there was a ceiling to it. And, he was getting, as we start getting older. And like you said, he had that horrible accident that damaged his leg, his ankle. Mm-hmm. And he couldn't really do a lot of the moves that he was able to do before. He had to be more careful.
Right.
He had to be more grounded. So becoming that loose cannon and being, not to jump ahead, but becoming a Hollywood Blonde with Steve Austin, the tag team, fantastic.
Yeah.
Some of the best work that
we're going to talk about from early 90s WCW to also, we can't mention WCW without talking about the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, where in the NWA he had a more standing, he was main eventer, but early days WCW he was a major focal head for the booking.
Yes, he was.
And I don't even think we're gonna be able to go through each year of the booking committee, but it just changed every damn year. Somebody had to take control of it. Somebody.
Wyatt took over for a bit.
It just gets crazy and crazy until 2001. But
even it was always a rotation. You're absolutely right. So it was kind of hard for them to nail an identity. It was always somebody new coming in, changing the game, changing this, changing the gimmicks, changing that.
Which seems to be a pattern where you notice a stability of who gets pushed, who's not getting pushed, who's getting buried.
Right.
But
what are they called now? What's the new gimmick now? Wait, wasn't he just wrestler number 5? Now he's wrestler number 20. It was just crazy.
There were certain rules too where one of I think it's Bill Watts, that if you come off the top rope. If you come off the top rope or get thrown over the top rope, that's an automatic disqualification.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
That was so stupid because now we have these guys like Flying Brian or
Who can't fly anymore?
They can't fly anymore, right? They can't do it anymore. Or just anybody who wants to do an elbow drop or a big splash or superplex, something, like what are we doing here? Like, why are we dumbing this down? He was probably one of the worst bookers they had.
Maybe, but I will say that is one of the dumber rules I've ever heard in my life.
Period.
And I think there's a lot of stuff we have heard over the years with the wrestling regulations, or how here in New York City there's no blood or nothing. But I mean that's
Right.
fine. But taking away a thing that wrestlers do in a match is kind of ridiculous.
It's standard.
I never understood it. Never
It's
got.
standard, right? Especially when a lot of wrestlers use the top rope for their finishers.
Right.
It's just
I want to mention for Dusty too that he had some of his booking ways where nowadays, if you ever see somebody win a match but not win the title, it's called the Dusty finish.
the dusty finish,
Like
right?
give people what they want, but then take it away from them without. It's one of those things where it's been used over and over again. Where nowadays, when you see it, it's like, oh, well, that sucks. They did the Dusty finish.
Yeah, great. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Couldn't give us what we want.
It's in the same category of the screw job finish. Like, did you really have to go back to that?
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
But
What a legacy he left behind, huh?
yeah, and you know what? When he was in charge too, he tried pushing his own son to the moon, and that
Yes,
was
he did.
the natural Dustin Rhodes. Where again, one of these guys with your Steve Austins, your Mean Marks, your Terror Risings, or Jean Paul Levesque. But Dustin Rhodes early on, you could see something was there, but I think it's too fast.
Yeah. I'm a
And,
big
and also too, I'm sorry,
fan.
but just the natural, like you're just cursing him because everything
Yeah.
that in the ring now needs to be smooth.
Right.
He was never smooth, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's always been a big fan of Dustin. I don't know. I think for me it was before the WCW when they were both in WWF.
Yeah, he got a small
That was
stint
the
there.
first time I saw Dustin was when he was in the audience. He
Mhm.
got attacked by the $1 Million Man and Virgil.
The fruit of my loins.
Fruit of my loins. And the moment where Dusty throws himself on top of Dustin, who's covered with blood after getting his ass beat. And there was just something about that moment that stood out in my memory. Like it's just been burned into my brain. And you couldn't help but become a fan of that moment. Seeing a father protect his son.
Mhm.
That it just touched you. I was a kid, but it touched me, like, oh my God, like that's love. And Dustin always stayed in my head. So then when, his run in WWF was that. And then they both ended up back in WCW. And like you said, he was natural. And I really enjoyed watching him work though. But like you said, he was a little rough around the edges. He was a big Southern boy, but yet I don't know. There was just something about him that stood out.
I mean, he was in a team with Barry Windham that seemed to click as well as it could have, but
Yeah.
just the fact that you're the son of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and you have a lot to live up to.
Oh yes. I mean,
Big
we see it
shoes to fill, if you will, but it's just
yeah. I mean, we see that also with Cody. His whole legacy is around being the son of Dusty.
yeah. But early on, it was definitely hard to. It's definitely tells you when later on he does a completely different gimmick under a completely different name.
Oh yes.
Not even acknowledging, maybe sometimes, but as a shoot, we're going to acknowledge the fact that he's Dusty's kid, but as Goldust,
Mm-hmm.
he showed more natural craziness, natural.
Right.
Like, it just clicked. Something
Yeah.
in his head clicked when that. But
Yes.
again, early WCW, they tried a lot of stuff
Yeah.
and a lot of shit. I mean, here comes RoboCop.
Oh God, the RoboCop. I hated that so much. I don't know. I don't even know why
You
I
want
hated it.
you want to explain the
It's
RoboCop
yeah.
thing?
So RoboCop, for those of you, I mean, I'm sure people know that that was a big movie back
Yeah, the
in
early '90s.
90s, where it was this man robot hybrid. Like he had been injured, and then they added robot parts to him to keep him
Alive.
alive, I guess. And he
Yeah,
became a cop, or he
yeah.
went back to being a cop. I haven't watched the movie since
Yeah, I
I
think
was
he was a cop. He
yeah.
was originally a cop, but got into a big accident, and
And
then
he
they're like, "Oh,
became
let's save
a
him by turning him
robot.
into a robo, like a
And he
robot."
was, this unstoppable force. And people loved the movie. It was a big hit.
Right.
It wasn't my thing as a kid. That wasn't my thing growing up.
Hmm.
But whatever. And then they did like a collaboration with the movie. And
They advertised the pay-per-view out of it.
yeah,
Capital Combat Return to RoboCop.
exactly. And here he comes, and he was part of the pay per view. He came out of like a. He came out from the back and
He just walked out. The horseman put
with
Sting
the
in a
RoboCop
cage.
walk.
Yeah,
Yeah, he like ripped the door off of it or some shit. It was weird. It was just weird. And he was teamed up with Sting,
yeah. Who they're trying to push as the top baby face.
right? So they paired them
So,
up,
and,
and
and you're having Arn, Ole, and Sid Vicious be scared of RoboCop, which is
he's
like,
scared of RoboCop, right?
oh,
When you think he
great.
just gone and overpowered him and ripped his arm off, but okay,
Yeah, sure, why not? But it's like one of those things too where they do that, and then I want to mention this because this is one of those major blows for WCW early on, where their top heel leaves and goes joins the WWF.
right?
Not before fucking I forget who the booker was, but they wanted to turn Ric Flair into Spartacus.
Uh huh.
Cut his hair
Uh huh.
and repackage him as a soldier
Yes.
or Roman
Which
gladiator, whatever the hell the concept was. But
what the hell were they thinking? Like, you cannot take Ric Flair and change him into anything other than the
Ric
Nature
Flair.
Boy. Yeah.
I mean, because I know I heard the story too that when before like Kurt Hennig got the Mister Perfect moniker, that Flair was going to get that as well, or
Right.
he was going to be the original Mister Perfect.
Oh yeah.
But it's like I just know Ric Flair too that if he would have done that in his first if you would have seen him on his first appearance, he wouldn't hold back and just he would have started wooing.
Yeah. Come on.
He
Like
would have done all the Ric Flair mannerisms, just say "fuck you," I don't give a damn.
do that little strut dance,
Yeah,
just like a freaking Roman warrior.
yeah. But he goes to WWF, leaves WCW, and takes the world title with him,
Stick with him.
which is the worst thing too.
Took everything with him. The belt, the name, everything.
So then you have Sting, who's still on top, but now he needs adversaries. He's fighting, and this was also when they jumped into the era of think of pandemic style stuff with like the pre-recorded stuff, but think
Yes.
WCW did that early, where it's like spin the wheel, make the deal with Jake
Oh
Roberts,
God,
where
yeah.
and,
Oh freaking
and,
A.
Sting's climbing. I'm gonna say like an ice mountain to confront Vader, and then
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. You just opened a major memory unlock.
Sting and the Bulldog are on the beach playing volleyball, and
Yes.
Winston Vicious and Vader on a boat that's about to explode.
Yes, they did. They did. It. It felt like they were tapping into
What were they tapping into?
into like oh my God, into Baywatch. That feel with that.
Funny enough, WCW would be on Baywatch later on.
And it could be on Baywatch. Yeah, Baywatch became, they became very synonymous with WCW. Yeah, you saw
Yeah,
Hogan and Sting and the Macho Man episodes, right? And then Hulk
but-
Hogan got his own TV show, very similar to.
Yeah.
Forgot the
So
name of
like
it, right?
they do like these silly things like that. Then
Yes.
when it came to like wrestling wise, again with Sting, they would do some violent shit, and it was always around three people: Sting, Cactus Jack, and Vader.
Oh yeah,
I mean, those matches of Vader and Cactus Jack. You think Foley going off a Hell in a Cell and going through it was worse? Try being on the back of a 400-pound man and him going backwards and landing full force and hitting your damn head on the ramp.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I will say too, like being thrown off top of the cell is worse, but it's just
obviously
at this time, it's like, dude, you're asking to die.
Yeah, it was a crazy visual, and because WCW was still a Southern promotion, and South had always had the reputation of violent, bloody wrestling. So for people who say, "Oh, it's so violent now," you need to watch Southern wrestling from like the 70s and 80s, where everybody's covered in blood.
Bloodbaths.
Bloodbaths. So WCW kept that tradition a little bit, with a lot of those matches that they had, the scaffold matches. These guys were wrestling on scaffolds above the ring.
And some of those scaffolds were unstable.
They weren't. They were very wobbly. They were moving. I mean, you never see that now. I don't think they could ever pull off that.
Everybody needs to picture. Everybody needs to picture a 285-pound animal and hawk, like muscled up statues, against 200-pound men on boards hanging above the fucking arena, above the ring. And the only way to win is to throw your opponents off the damn scaffold.
And you see them, they're up there. They're scared out of their freaking minds. You could tell because they were moving so gingerly up there, like, they don't want us to collapse on us. Like, they couldn't do anything because it's a scaffold, construction scaffold. You see how narrow those are.
Yeah.
So, like, what can you really do up there?
We can't show it. We can't show it on here due to copyright, but everybody look up Jim Cornette fall from the scaffold, where the poor bastard, he was hanging, and like he's like was staying there, but he's waiting for a Big Bubba, who would be the big boss man later down, and just the idea of like it's supposed to be he drops and Bubba catches him, Jim falls and goes right through his arms, breaks both his ankles.
Like a sack of potatoes.
And loses his breath. Like, because because the shit must have fucking hurt. Oh my God.
Jim Cornette was never a wrestler. He was always the manager. He was always this little, sneaky little manager. He wasn't meant to be. And
doing stupid bumps like that.
Wrestling match with Paul Heyman. Was that like a tuxedo match or something?
Yeah, they had the odd occasional thing of the managers wrestling, but
WCW loved doing that.
Yeah, and also it's so weird to see them try and push. Well, you see potential in a lot of these guys, and eventually they would all go to the other way. I mean, and Mark Callis would turn into the Undertaker.
Right.
Terrorizing Jean-Paul Levesque would turn into Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Triple H.
Stunning Steve Austin would go make his pit stop in ECW to Superstar.
Right.
Then he would go to WWE as the ringmaster, but then become Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
And
but,
again, that's all booking too, where they didn't see anything in these people, but they just missed out on the future.
Yeah. But Steve in WCW, he had a great career without a doubt. He started off very like a little Ric Flair kind of almost. He had the long hair, he had the robe, he was very, handsome because Steve Austin is a really great looking dude. So he came in with that, youthfulness. He had Lady Blossom with him, who was his wife. What's her real name? Oh, she's British, I forget, but that was his valet.
Yeah.
And his evolution also was incredible because he went from being Stunning Steve, he kept the name, but then he became the Hollywood Blonde Stunning Steve, where you could see a big cocky change to his attitude. Him and Brian Pillman were, how can I explain it? It almost felt like the very early Shawn Michaels Triple H pairing, in a way, where they were very
they were DX before DX was something,
right? That obnoxious, like they will always joke on people. They would always be very full of shit. They would come up with a whole little.
I was about to say the visual of Stone Cold just doing that, like filming their opponents,
because they were Hollywood blondes. They were these hot stars. They were the future. They were a great tag team. They had great chemistry together, and it carried over the years.
Yeah.
When they were both in ECW, when they both went into WWF, they just had that like that connection that just never really ended until Brian passed.
And WCW had some bright points too around going into before '94, where again, like some people would like go to WWF and then come back, like Flair, the Steiners would eventually come
Sure.
back,
Yeah.
but you start to see some guys like staying, continuing to stay in the main events. He still be on top. I mean, Rick Rude made the jump from WWF to WCW and got himself over as a main eventer that he
Absolutely.
could have been in WWF.
Which we'll
You
never
had
understand why he wasn't.
uh, they also for WCW they made history putting Ron Simmons over for the world title, which was one of those cool moments.
Oh, that was amazing. That was amazing.
That's one of those accolades that you can never take away from him, despite all the beer drinking, the dams that he would say over the years. That he
Yeah.
gets to say he was the first black world champion,
Champion.
mainstream
Yeah.
too.
He was, he was just so he stood out. Obviously, I mean, in a business where the majority of the wrestlers were white,
Hmm.
especially in WCW, he came in and he just went. He defied the odds. He had a phenomenal physique.
Yeah,
Came back. Also came from a football background, and he was just so good in the ring. Like he was strong but fast at the same time. Like he would put on some amazing matches in there, and yeah, putting the belt on him was a great move. It was very revolutionary at the time.
again, they do stuff like that. There's a new up and coming African American team on the rise called Harlem Heat with Booker T and Stevie Ray,
So good.
who defined tag team wrestling for WCW against Sting, and then you had an older gentleman who started wrestling late, but then became arguably one of the pillars for WCW in Diamond Dallas Page.
Yeah, yeah. It's so funny. I never liked him in the beginning when he first came in as a manager.
Yes,
I found him, like you said, like I'm like, where did this guy come from? Like, he's old.
very like he was like we
So
were joking like in '90 when like Michael Hayes looks like the road owned him, but
yeah,
he's only 31. DDP started like early, like late 30s, like later than
yeah,
everybody.
yeah. He was, but and I was like, who is this guy? Like, I didn't get it in the beginning with him, and then he had like, Vinny Vegas, who we know is Kevin Nash,
Diamond
and
Stud, who's
and
Scott
the
Hall.
Diamond Stud. I mean, he the that it started to kind of
Calm down over there. I could tell in your voice and your face how you're just picturing him in front of you, and just like, oh,
no,
oh,
I'm just
Scott.
saying like like he was kind of like the catalyst that started a lot of that future with Hall and Nash. He saw something in them.
Yeah,
He saw something in them. It's just why he came to work with them. He became good friends with them, and so he helped kind of build those personas. Because when you see Vinny Vegas, his persona,
that's Big Sexy
that's big sexy, and then obviously the Diamond Stud is
Razor.
Razor. You know, so it
But if we're talking about Dallas specifically, when he became an actual wrestler,
yeah,
very interesting look, like blonde,
very
like
curly blonde mullet.
curly blonde hair, smoking a cigar to the ring.
Yeah,
He had colorful outfits too, but
yes,
the thing that always, even back then, like we'll talk about later down the line, but the wife, Kimberly, who stood out.
gorgeous
Yeah.
to this day.
In case anybody's like not aware of like if you want like a modern reference on who she is, she's the chick in 40-Year-Old Virgin that has her titty pop out.
In the blind, in the speed dating, yes.
Yes,
So
that's that's Kimberly Page.
that's Kimberly Page. Her boob just bloop, pops out in the middle of talking to the guys, and they're all like, "Oh." I will say she stunning.
Yes, there was a reason Playboy had her do.
Yeah, I never got to meet her personally, but when I went to Canada for Mania, I watched her check in. Don't ask. She was checking into the hotel and she had on this gorgeous, like, ivory suit and had her hair cut shorter at this point. And there was just something, like, she just like an aura to this woman. And I was just staring at her because she just looked so gorgeous. And she turned around and I'm like, oh shit. I just got
Some
busted.
people tend to forget about her when they talk about the women of wrestling because
Exactly.
she only did WCW. Like she never went to the other side. She never appeared anywhere else.
You know, I think they acknowledged her presence from time to time as, DDP's wife.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying like she never like stood like past WCW. She never did anything in TNA, WWE.
No, she
or
didn't.
Not even,
No.
yeah.
But everybody knew who she was, no matter what.
She left her mark, and
She really did. She really did.
Early on as well. But then WCW is about to go global, I would say, in certain sense, because then Eric Bischoff takes control of WCW, and then at this time, Hulk Hogan is a free agent. So then, I know you have your feelings and you express them where it's like you're not going to watch the documentary, you didn't do a review with us, which is totally fair. But I think objectively, 94, 95, Hogan comes in. Probably the biggest get WCW could have at that time.
Humongous coup.
Yes.
It was like them saying to Vince, "You wanted to play that game back in the '80s? We got you, because now we got your
golden
prince,
boy.
we got your golden boy. We got the man that built wrestling.
Yes.
We got him now."
Definitely a weird image seeing Hulkamania with the WCW logo underneath it.
It was like it just felt like it was otherworldly. Yeah. Like you entered a different timeline, to a different dimension, and you're like, how is Hulk Hogan in WCW? Like this doesn't feel natural.
And it started a trend where shortly after, the Macho Man is coming into WCW. Hacksaw Jim Duggan's coming to WCW. The fucking Honky Tonk Man was in WCW for a little bit until he got fired. But it was like
Bobby
Hogan
in Okerlund.
It felt like WCW was turning back into mid 80s, early 90s WWF, which again, for those younger guys, kind of like uh-oh. Because you had your Benoit, you had your Guerrero, you had your Malenkos, Rey Mysterio Jr., Chris Jericho.
Yes.
All those guys look at like the old timers coming in.
Even Sting, like he must have been like, why are all these guys from the other side coming in here? Like
but weirdly enough, him and Luger were still in the mix.
Right.
Like,
thank goodness.
And Flair too, to a certain extent as well.
Right. I mean, you also had like the British Bulldog come in.
Yeah, but like,
that was
his brother-in-law later on down the line would be a bigger thing. Would that be, that's a kind of waste of time though. But he did come in. But when Hogan comes in, it's time for shenanigans and old school stuff where Hogan needs to fight the odd monster of the week, and this is where we get introduction to Young Big Show and the fucking Dungeon of Doom.
Yes.
With your favorite Zodiac and Kamala and the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan.
What a time to be alive, to be able to witness that all in person.
And the damn Yeti only lasted one show.
Oh God. Yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't watched our Weird Gimmicks episode, we go watch it. We talk about the Yeti and the Zodiac. And
he left his mark on Hogan.
Oh, he sure did.
Humped the living shit out of him and then left and never came back.
Oh my God!
Dry humped him from the back.
With Big Show holding him from the front.
Yep. And but in a positive note, trying to be positive, like Big Show, Paul White, the Giant.
Yeah.
First match wins the world title off Hogan.
Yeah.
You can't do that nowadays.
No,
No way.
Maybe a mid Carter, but not a heavyweight championship. Like, can you like that was
I'm trying to think. The equivalent to like a Brock or a Oba nowadays, maybe.
yeah, like
I'm saying Brock back in 2002. You could have realistically done that. Maybe.
Yeah, he could have probably came in and taken the belt off whoever was champion at the time. Oba could have done that. Now, sure, even Braun Breaker could have been one of those guys, that could have came in and just snatched the belt off somebody from his debut match. I mean, we just saw it in AEW with Ciampa a few months ago. Yeah. It wasn't the world title, but it was impressive.
Maybe a Batista even.
Batista could have done it, absolutely.
But the Giant come in legit 7 feet, 500 pounds at best. But it's always one of those odd visuals of seeing him come off the top rope.
He came in when he came in, he was super young still, right?
Oh,
he was in his 20s, I believe. So he was actually lean for his height. Yes. Like, good looking dude too. Like, as Andre the Giant's son.
Oh God.
So he came in with that look, with the black singlet thing on the side, and yeah.
Always cut very low too, so you could see something there, but it was
all right. His man boob,
No, but again, but you're right. It was just like the son of Andre. It was like a really fit, tall kid.
Yeah, he was just
a kid.
He was a kid. He looked like he came off a football field somewhere or a basketball court.
Nobody's legit 7 feet nowadays. Or back then, it was like one of those rare things.
He's a big dude, but he was, like when you see a lot of these tall, super tall giant wrestlers, they always looked off. Yes. Like their legs were wobbly, or they had some kind of condition like Andre did. He's just a tall man, very athletic. You were kind of worried, like, what's this guy gonna do when he comes in the ring? Is he gonna just be picking people up and putting them down, like we're used to seeing big guys do? No,
he's jumping in the ring for his entrance and jumping
over the top rope like nothing.
Yeah, this dude was a fucking phenomenon.
Drop kicking people in the face. Sure, I think he was tall enough to drop kick over people's heads sometimes, if they weren't short enough. Like you say, coming off the top rope.
And the scary thing was his body fluctuates in weight, and he was still doing that in WCW until he went to WWF and they said knock it off.
And then he was a smoker on top of that. Dude was smoking. The smoke cigarettes did nothing to his lungs.
Funny enough, like in '98, that's when he started doing it. He goes, I don't give a shit anymore. I'll just smoke to the ring and I'll eat a cheeseburger every day. Not caring.
I mean, did you watch his interview recently with Chris Van Vliet, where he was talking about how he would eat just to maintain? Like, he was eating like thousands upon thousands upon thousands of calories, like 5 digits worth of calories per day.
For somebody that big.
Like, he was going to Taco Bell, McDonald's. He didn't care what he was eating.
But mind you, too. So it was like they had him do the wrestling stuff. But then this is still WCW. We need to have shenanigans. Monster trucks.
Oh, yeah. Those monster trucks. Oh, everybody had a damn monster truck. Macho Man.
Well, it was that, and this is the South. So it was also NASCAR cars.
NASCAR. Yeah, they love that stuff. They love that. They love all those vehicle sports.
Yeah, and it was one of those interesting things when, as we get into '96, that fans started to look at Hogan and say, "We're sick of this horse shit of eating your." I was about to say eating your prayers, but saying your prayers, eating your vitamins,
and believing in yourself, brother.
Yeah, boo.
Oh, okay, and also let's not forget that he had when they did the Mall of America. When they did the shows at the Mall of America, and he had his own pasta restaurant. What the hell was that?
There's also but thank you for bringing that up, because not for nothing, now this is the second biggest company in the world, they need to compete with the WWF, who's doing Monday Night Raw.
Right.
And I don't understand why he fucked up his own story, but Bischoff says, like, we needed 2 hours. Boy, they gave you 1 hour for Monday Nitro in '95. You didn't get to 2 hours till like maybe 2 years later, but whatever.
Right.
Monday Night Show was born, and the debut episode was in a fucking mall.
Mall of America, the biggest
Yes.
mall in the country, one of the biggest malls in the world.
And it's always one of those funny visuals where you see
Yes, so
when Luger makes the jump, he's right by like a toy store.
yeah, it was just wild. But you know what's funny? We see that now with some of the indie shows
Yeah,
because
nothing new.
GCW goes to American Dream in Jersey, and I was there not too long ago, and I'm like, I can see why like they would want to put a wrestling show here. There's a space here for there's a performance space.
Also,
So what about these?
not too long ago, we saw AEW on a golf course.
Yeah, they were on a golf course. I mean, I think, hey, listen, I think that's a cool concept. Putting wrestling shows in venues that you would least expect, just to see how they could work the logistics. You know,
Yeah, but Hogan's in. Then Diesel and Razor Ramon make the jump from WWF to back to WCW. But
huge,
and there's a reason why I said Razor and Diesel, because when they came back to WCW, they were pretty much their fucking characters
right,
from WWF, and the
right.
WWF said, "Knock it off."
Yeah, it was like the lines were so blurred because back then we didn't have the internet the way we have it now, where people will spoil things weeks before it even happens, and then when it does happen, you're like, oh, yeah, okay.
I was
Back
told that
then,
2 weeks ago.
right now, back then,
Holy shit, Razor Ramon's on
Razor
TNT right now.
Ramon pops up in the middle of the broadcast with
Hmm.
talking with the home hangman, all that stuff, with his little denim vest on and his hair slicked back,
and
being
the famous phrase, this is where the big boys play.
where the big boys play. He had his little toothpick still in his mouth, and it was like, oh, shit, what's going on?
He's also calling out billionaire Ted.
Yes, and it was crazy because you didn't know. You're like, yo, did they just send Razor Ramon to take over? Like, you really legit.
And then Diesel comes like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, because the way the commentators sold it, it really made you think that he was not supposed to be there.
Like, I remember how they played it off. They're like, is that who I think it is?
Yes, and then he comes sauntering into the shot, and they're like, "Oh, what is going on here?"
Yeah, that like Diesel came in 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks later. But then they said like, oh, they're not alone. They have somebody else on the way. And then
Right.
we have Bash at the Beach, where it's Savage, Luger, and Sting defending the honor of WCW against the Outsiders.
Yes.
Who's the third man? Out walks Hogan and Bobby.
Right.
People call it a fuck up, or I don't know if he just didn't like realize the gravitation of like what he was about to say. But it's like, is he the third man? Because then you had Tony be like, oh, you gotta be kidding me, and then
Yeah.
Hogan drops the leg on Macho.
Having Bobby say that though made it work because you're like, no, it's not. He's coming to save the day. It's probably somebody else. Maybe it's Shawn Michaels. Like you start thinking like, who else
Yeah.
in WWF that was kind of sort of associated with these two guys would
Yeah.
come in.
And the backstory is interesting, where Hogan was very hesitant about turning heel. Where if he would have backed out, it would have been Sting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't have make. If I was also fantasy booking, I would have made maybe Savage. Because looking at Hall and Nash,
Yeah.
they would work better with Savage.
I think so too. Like it would have been cool to see because since Savage was in the match, it would have been cool to see him turn on
Sting
the other
and
guys
Luger.
and be like, this is these guys right here, and he was great with the promo and he had a look that was very compatible with the two guys. So yeah, that would have been awesome if Hogan would have been like, nope, not doing it.
But yeah, because like when they eventually do the NWL vignettes and the producer said that they had to do so many takes because Hogan was kind of like nonsense or bullshit. Because Nash and Hall, say what you will about them as workers or how they are professionally, they knew the times. Like they were very into the culture, or like what was hip at the time.
Yes, they were.
Hogan was fucking still like, oh, like I was swimming down the beach, brother, with my, and then like, and then he'd be calling himself like I'm the wood master, or like, he'd be like he was like the most uncool grandpa on the show.
Yeah, that's he felt like that weird unk,
Like, I'm down with my homies. You're like, no, you're not, Hulk.
It really did. It felt so awkward. I mean, like you said, when he did the actual term, when he dropped that leg
Yes.
on Macho Man, like I know that I can't even imagine how many kids started crying.
Well, he broke all the Hulkamaniacs' hearts, and then the best part.
I thought it was hysterical.
I love how Gene. The best was when Gene came in, and he's like, "Look at all this garbage in the ring. This is what you did, Hulk." And then Hogan's like, "Before I say anything, I want all these pieces of crap to shut up." And then
Oh
the
my
whole building just goes nuts. Did Hogan just tell us to shut up?
I mean, I was already a teenager at the time, like a young teen, so I thought this shit was hilarious. And my brother was cracking up too.
But there was also
Happened.
the full transformation too, where the red and the yellow were gone. He grew the full black. I don't know what to call it, because he still had the white beard.
He still had the white mustache, but his beard was black.
Yeah, he wore all black.
He wore all black with the black tie dye tights, the boa.
The lightning on the sides and his big face on his boots.
Hollywood Hogan, because he was a Hollywood star at the time.
And then the NWO, the New World. I was about to call it what Larry calls it, Order, the New World Order, but it's the New World Order, where it was fine at first. Like, you got 3. $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase was the 4th. No, whatever. Fuck, I don't give. Whatever the fucking order was. Then they had the Giant join. Then 6 joined.
Yeah.
Then
Which
fucking
6 made sense. 6 made sense.
Virgil is renamed Vincent. It got to the point where there's so many goddamn NWO members, and you mentioned Chris Van Vliet, where like he talked to Billy Gunn. He says like the number of members of DX compared to the NWO is insane.
Yeah, because DX only had their core, 6 of them altogether? Like, they never expanded past this. And they rotated. It was always during different times. They were never really together. But these guys would fill the ring. NWO would fill the ring from rope to rope.
Even the fucking cameraman joined the NWO.
It was crazy. And when they first started off as just Hogan and the Outsiders, even though, like you said, Hogan felt like a weird uncle amongst the two of them.
Yeah.
It was just something special. I mean, the vignettes that they would do with the black and white gritty footage and like the camera cuts, the way they would go like from face to face. It was so well done. It was so cool. It was so, ahead of its time almost.
You know what's a crazy comparison?
Killed it.
You know what's a crazy comparison that I'm thinking of? Think of The Miz when he was doing his A-list gimmick, where he said like, "Oh, like I'm making A-list movies." Yeah. That was also Hogan, because he'd be making his stupid little movies on the side too. And he'd be like, "Oh, like these are cinema, brother. I'm gonna win Emmys." And it's like, no, you're not. What with Suburban Commando or in the Nanny movie?
Bard. Like, dude, that's Suburban Commando. Also, there's a cameo from The Undertaker in that movie.
Yeah, he has a weird voice too, which is
he's a goon.
Weird. But it's so weird. They do this NWO gimmick, and pretty much it was stolen from New Japan Pro Wrestling, where they did something similar.
Yes.
But the main thing of the story was, we need a savior. Who's our savior? Sting. And Sting, who went to Japan for a little bit just to work some dates, and meanwhile they pretended that Sting had turned on the company and they had a fake Sting, which, looking back now, was fucking perfect. This dude, the same physique, same hairstyle. Maybe from a distance you couldn't tell, but it was very convincing.
It was like they don't even need the real Sting back.
It was funny when they do the reveal of like, oh, he's the fake Sting, that he kept that gimmick for years afterwards.
Jeff Farmer.
Yeah.
I have to Google the guy.
As NWO Sting. But
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it was. I mean, look at the guy. He was jacked like Sting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That just shows you when they were trying for a storyline, they tried.
Oh my god! I just in looking it up, I just saw a little thumbnail of when Barry Windham
That was horrible.
dressed like he cut his hair and yeah, it was from Halloween Havoc.
But the whole Sting thing too, where
here we go. The hilarious WCW career of fake Sting. Yeah, that's so cool.
But for a Sting, where he pretty much tells WCW, "Stick it, you're on your own," and then he goes away, and everybody's all upset with themselves because, like, damn it, like we should have believed him. Yes. Then he starts reappearing with white face paint, with a black trench coat and a black baseball bat,
longer hair,
black hair. Now the blonde hair is gone.
He was slowly growing it out. You know, even when he was Sting. And I remember, like, what's going on here? I don't like this.
He had like the short brown hair for a little bit, and then he just completely dyed it black.
It feels weird. It was almost like when John Cena started to grow his hair into the Anchorman look. It was like, what's going on here? This is weird.
But then he would start appearing in the arenas, just in the shadows. He wouldn't say a word.
Crow. Yeah, the fake crow gimmick. Yeah.
What do you mean the fake crow gimmick? What are you talking about? This is original.
Oh sure.
Yeah, and there was no movie at the time that Scott Hall saw. I was like, hey, I got an idea for you.
Not at all. No.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't based off Bruce Lee's son. No, Brandon.
But I think the craziest thing about this gimmick was when they eventually had him coming down from the ceiling at super fast speed.
Yeah.
Like,
didn't we learn our lesson?
This is before the Owen thing.
Oh, that's right. This was before the Owen thing. Oh, no, you know what? I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking when Shawn would do it. Yeah. He was speed down, too.
Yeah. But it was like they had him attached, and he just dropped down. And sometimes it was just like super fast. He'd be like, whoosh, and then he's like, it was on the floor already. Just
crash into the mat. I'm like, oh Lord, did it break his ankles?
Thank God he did it. I think there was one time that they dropped him into the fans, and the fans were fucking crowding him. I was like, that'd be dangerous nowadays.
Oh yeah.
Especially Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Darby, don't get any ideas. But But it was all leading to that. Because WCW was trying always to stay on top, and they were on top around this time.
They were massive.
I look back at this angle too, where it's like JJ Dillon's like, "What do you want, Sting? Please speak to us, please."
Right.
And just hope he'd be pointing the bat at. There'd be signs. It was also good that the crowd understood the story. He's like, he wants Hogan.
Yeah.
So like JJ Dillon be like, "I know who you want at Starrcade. You versus Buff." And then Sting would rip the contract. It's like, that's not what I want. And they'd be like, you're going to go against 6. He's like, damn it. And then he just he grabbed JJ, like point the bat in the crowd, and just people would be having signs that says, he wants Sting. Or no, he wants Hogan.
Hogan, yeah.
And then JJ would be like, what does he want?
And you're just like, bro.
Eventually the match happened, and holy shit, Hogan buried him.
Of course he buried him.
This thing had no offense, and mind you, I don't think he had worked a match that whole year.
Yeah. And I think that was the intention, to show that he has been doing nothing but lurking around and being emo the whole time. That once he stepped into the ring, it's almost like he had all this ring rust, and he was so distracted by the whole obsession with Hogan that it backfired on Sting.
But shouldn't have been his pent up frustration of like people not believing him, like, or people turning their back on him. That he would just went in there, beat the crap out of him, scorpion death drop 1, 2, 3.
Right, exactly. But
But no, instead we get a bullshit 1, 2, 3 count with Hogan pinning him clean. And then, oh, by the way, Bret Hart just got screwed in WWF. He makes a jump to WCW, says, this is bullshit. And have to restart the stupid match, and just they fucked it up. They fucked up that a year line, a whole year story.
Huge build up to nothing.
Can you imagine if they did that for like the Cody story? Oh, Cody never finished his story. Ha ha.
When they almost did that, remember? They
Right,
almost did.
but can you imagine if they did that 2 years in a row? You'd just be sitting there like, why do I watch this crap for?
Yeah, I think the fans would have rioted at that time if Cody hadn't won the finish the story.
Yeah, but back
Almost did.
then with the Sting stuff, it's like, really?
It was just yeah. I mean, like I had mentioned in our last episode, I hated that crow sting gimmick. I did not.
Yeah,
Li-
that kind of surprised me when you said it because it's like
it blew
that's
my
kind of a thing that made him stand out.
Yeah, and the thing is like because I was such a big fan of Surfer Sting, that Sting, the man called Sting, that was my man, So to see him come back, and I'm like, why is he dressed like the Crow? Why is he acting all mute? What is this? What is this? I hated it. It just did not click with me at all.
You know what
Now I
made it?
can't picture him obviously because he's done that persona for so long and he evolved it
Yeah,
away from that mute, weird emo weirdo in the shadows character to
yeah,
a hybrid of both personas in a way.
yeah. But then I would say worst Sting is definitely Wolfpack Sting
Oh,
because when you can't beat the NWO, join the other
why not?
one, join the Wolfpack, and just the white and black face paint is not bad as the red and black.
Yeah,
That
Red and
one
Black
was,
awful.
and then eventually when he would grow his goatee out, it would just look awful.
It did. It was just so harsh. Just and Red and Black just didn't work as that. It just didn't. And I was a fan of the whole Wolfpack kind of thing. I did. I actually liked that they branched
Really?
out. I did. I liked the Wolfpack. I even have one of their shirts.
Yeah,
I liked it. I liked the Red and Black. I felt like okay, it's something different than just regular NWO taking over. Like now there's tension within, and yeah, but having Sting in there just did not. That's another thing for me. Just didn't work. Yeah, that era was tough for me.
and I was just about to mention too, like where at this point you would think like 96 from 97, maybe that's the length of the NWO storyline you would go with. That shit went from 96 to 99. They kept fucking going. And then you would have that. You would have the LWO.
Yes,
And then even fucking ECW with the BWO.
oh yeah, I mean BWO was
That was just a blame parody. But when they did the LWO, I mean, someone of your background, I kind of only imagine how you felt just seeing that because it's like, because I mean, I understood the meaning of it when Eddie said like we need to stop fighting each other and fight against everybody else, but it's just also like we're gonna do another NWO group.
I mean, I like seeing the luchadors together. I really did. I thought that was a cool idea, but it could have went with a different gimmick altogether with that.
Right. Or name them something else.
See Eddie like rally the troops together basically and say, "Look, we gotta stick together. We gotta stick together. We shouldn't be being pit against each other. We come from the same place. We are from the same background, so we gotta work together. We gotta stick together like brothers, like hermanos, primos." And I love that. But having that, even though the LWO is so iconic now, that you can go online and find LWO shirts with all Latin American country flags, even like non-Latin Caribbean flags. I love that. I have one of my own Dominican LWO shirt.
Yeah.
So like that became an iconic uh, gimmick, but at the time, it was overkill.
Yeah.
At the time, it was overkill. They should have just had their own title, their own name, their own faction name.
And for WCW, they really piggyback off the NWO stuff where factions like the Horsemen and well specifically that way, a group that had so much tradition and legacy with the name alone, they made them look stupid on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where Flair, like for more than a couple months, would be gone. He'd be home watching like read Wrestle, like his wrestling things, because like there was a clash.
Right.
Your top heel, one of your top heels, theoretically in Flair, is just saying, "Fuck this shit. I'm staying home. I'm not coming to work. You're gonna make me. You embarrass me and my friends
Right.
on a weekly basis, and we're supposed to be the good guys, and the NWO are just being dicks to us. But they're getting cheered every week.
People loved it because people wanted to see that. People wanted to get behind the bad guys. You know, the tide had changed so much, not just with the NWO, but we saw it also with Stone Cold Steve Austin in WWF, where he was being up the boss every day, and people loved it.
Yeah, and the tide did change when because WCW were still on top in the ratings. But then that Monday, when they had Mike Tyson show up on Monday Night Raw, it was all downhill then
Monday Night Raw,
for
the Monday Night
WCW.
Wars. Yeah, that was such a fun time, though.
Because I couldn't imagine trying to tune into each show, like clicking back and forth, because God forbid you missed something.
No, like we would in our house. I felt so bad for my mom because she would be relegated to her bedroom on Monday nights. But I'd be
She'd be relegated. Go in the room. Go to your
Go
room.
watch your novelas over there. Yeah, get out of here. It's time for wrestling. And I'd have Raw on the living room. My brother would have WCW on in his bedroom.
Right.
And we'd be like back and forth. Like, oh, you gotta come. Oh, watch this. Like, oh, no, you got to just change the channel altogether and put it on. It was so exciting.
Right.
Just to see these two promotions try to one up each other at the same time. And you know, WCW kept getting over on them because WWF at the time would pre-record half of their episodes. Right. So like one episode would be live, the next episode would be pre-taped the week before.
Yeah.
So WCW will get a hold of that information. And on their live broadcast was real stuff. Yeah. Or like Rick Rude incident where he was on Raw, pre-taped, debuting on live Nitro. It was on two shows at once. Like that made WWF look so foolish.
Yes.
And behind with everything. Like they couldn't afford live shows every week. So, you know, like it really exposed WWF's flaws at the time. WCW was just killing them.
So we mentioned how bad the Starrcade finish was, where this perfect storyline ending was right there in front of them, but backstage politics ruined it. I mean, how do you want to cover the finger poke of doom?
Oh my gosh!
Because I mean, if the death of WCW was starting with the Starrcade finish, just the first nail in the coffin was the finger poke.
Yeah, that finger poke of doom. That, I mean, there was. You know, the two major incidents, which was the finger poke of doom with Hulk Hogan just poking Kevin Nash in the chest, boom, literally, and Kevin bumps down to the mat.
Biggest bump of his career.
He lands on the mat. Literally, arms flail, legs flail like a freaking snow angel.
Hogan in cowboy boots.
Hogan in his cowboy boots, and he just...
The next president of the United States, too, Hulk Hogan.
And he gets the win.
1, 2, 3, easy. And then Nash jumps up, big hug with Hogan, Steiner, Hall, and Nash.
Just having the fans like, what the hell? You just
in the Georgia Dome too, the biggest stadium they could get, and fucking here comes the hero Bill Goldberg, and then they beat him up.
Yeah, and then it's like, you know, the fans are sitting there feeling like, you guys just try. What are you trying to pull the wool on us? Like, what are you guys doing? You guys you're not even trying at this point.
And mind you, so all this NWO nonsense is going on. A lot of the guys, like we mentioned before, Malenkos, Guerreros, Benoit's, Jericho's, they're not getting over. But there was one shining light. A bald NFL football player that kind of looks like Stone Cold, but it's not, but a more intense one named Bill Goldberg. Now, was he limited? Hell yes, but you know what? In his fucking short spurts of spear and a jackhammer, that shit had fans in the arenas going nuts.
I'll never understand why.
But, I mean, we talked about, like, the Big Show and how much he changed in his weight. Yeah. Just the visual of Goldberg picking him up with ease.
Yeah. Listen, his strength was impressive.
Yes.
but I saw right through that man. The moment he came out with the music, that imposing music, and the fireworks around him, and then he came out, I'm like, he's bald, black black trunks, black boots. Who the fuck is this Steve Austin wannabe? Like,
The only difference was the gloves.
Yeah, the gloves. That was it. Like,
Right.
who is this guy? Like, who's this? And then it's like he's not even like a young dude at this point either.
Yeah.
Right. He's another man who was a seasoned middle-aged man, and I'm like, yeah, he looked good. Physique was impressive as hell. Good looking dude again.
Yeah,
But then he just, as soon as he walked into the ring, it was a big womp for me. I was like, this guy sucks. Like, you know, just he didn't do it for me. There was just something about him that just rubbed me the wrong way. And it didn't help with what he did to my favorite wrestler of all time.
I mean, yeah, that's another incident.
It was hard to watch in the ring. Yeah. Sloppy as hell. Dangerous.
Yeah. Brett would love you.
They built him up to be the big new face, the big hero, the big strong. Nobody's gonna be able to defeat Goldberg.
I mean,
who's gonna break the streak?
I mean, the streak was one of those things where it could have been something, but then once they start padding it with bullshit, Goldberg definitely worked 7 times this past weekend because the streak was at a different number the week before.
Just jumping.
How do you get 10 wins in a week?
Like what? Like we only saw him wrestle one time.
How many house shows did he work?
Like how many shows is he working during the way? Where are these shows? Where are they being held?
It just shows you that was one of those ones where whether you weren't a Goldberg person, but a lot of people were. Some Booker T as well was on the rise, but he slowly got up the card with like television title wins, U.S. title wins.
Yes, he
worked
his ass off.
Other guys worked as well, like DDP was that night where he didn't join the NWO. It was one of those bigger moments for him. He got to be the world champion 2 times.
That was actually that was a great moment.
Right.
That was a great moment. At that point, I was already a DDP fan, so the whole
once WCW started getting into the year 2000, that's when really the wheels fell off the wagon, because then Vince Russo was around to help everybody.
He jumped ship.
Yes, where on fucking Nitro, they made sure to emphasize that he's the man behind the Attitude Era.
Right.
But
not only was he producing stuff, writing stuff, he became part of the show.
Where it would have been fine at that point, but if you could be a writer and not be on the show, and you could be on the show and not be the writer.
Correct.
Because I hate to say it, he was entertaining on screen. Most of the time when he was on TV, there were some moments where, like, shit, that was actually kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, listen, without a doubt, the dude has a very electric personality, you know? I mean, he's a big, he's a New Yorker. He comes in with his deep New York accent, and yo, bro.
Oh, my God.
And he had that obnoxious personality to be on TV.
But it was also a thing, too, where, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's just the thing of him standing there with his New York accent, baseball bat. He's like, Bill Goldberg is such a bitch. Hulk Hogan, you are an asshole. It's like, who is this dude? And he's calling out everybody. Flair, you old fuck. It's like,
yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And he won the world title, which.
And that was it. Like, it's, listen.
That one or the David Arquette one was worse.
Yeah. You could put him on screen. You could have him talk his shit. Cool. All right. It was fun at first. But when he got involved like that, to the point where, like you said, they put the damn world title on him, like that title meant nothing after that.
What was worse, that one or the David Arquette one?
David Arquette. At least David Arquette, you know,
Was a fan.
was a fan. He trained. He learned a few things. It was still a horrible idea to put the whole title on a Hollywood actor. But if you're gonna compare that to putting it on a writer, like who wrote this?
Oh, I know the person that wrote it.
Exactly. It just came off so like it just
And
that
meanwhile,
was
like that was
it.
that's worse. And then, mind you, his other buddy, Ed Further, come by. Oh, what's the most offensive thing that he did coming to WCW? Oh, let's do a JR impression and make fun of his Bell's palsy.
That was horrible.
That one, I can't watch any of those. Those annoy me.
No, you can't. Like that was so tasteless, so disrespectful, so disgusting. Like you're making fun of a man's now handicap, basically. I mean, this was a guy who, even with it, he still would go out there and do the best commentary ever.
One of the best.
With half his face paralyzed, it changed his voice. It changed. He still went out there and killed it.
Yes.
There's nothing there for you guys to make fun of. Something he couldn't control.
Right. And
Horrible.
And just one of those more disgusting things as well. But then it's just like, as we get through like the year 2000, you're just waiting for the ultimate demise.
Oh yeah.
And hell, looking back on it, putting the world title on Jeff Jarrett, not the worst idea I've ever heard in my life either. Because it's like when you look at the WWE landscape, who else did they have?
Need help with something specific there?
Sorry, that was my Amazon Echo thinking that you said something. He thought that he called you, and you called him.
All right,
anyway,
okay.
I'm gonna
That's
surprise
fine.
cameo appearance from Echo. Sorry, guys.
But yeah, but let me ask you. So, just like, could there have been anything in the year 2000 to save this? Because I mean, Jeff Jarrett was around. Booker T was on the rise. Scott Steiner was actually being booked as a main eventer.
Yeah,
Canyon, like Buff Bagwell.
Yeah, they could have gone in many different directions. You had the guys there. You had them there. You were somewhat building them up, but yet you were still cutting them off at the knees because you still had to have the old faithfuls here stealing the spotlight.
And then when they said "fuck you," you had nothing left.
Right. I mean, look. I mean, when you watch that whole incident with Jeff Jarrett becoming the champion, and then Hogan coming in.
Oh, you're talking about Bash at the Beach?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, how you can see when they talk about that incident, it literally deflates them all over again. Yeah. And you see the footage when Jeff had to do the job. He just got up and left.
Right.
And then who was it? Russo? Russo sits there to this day saying that was all scripted.
Meanwhile, he's done the fucking Dark Side of the Ring episode on it. And yeah.
Jeff's like, no. None of that was scripted.
Yeah.
And Vince Russo trying to save face. Oh no, it was all agreed upon. That was all part of the plan. Shut up.
Yeah, but so it's like that happens. Well, and the thing is too is for WCW they kept losing money month after month after month, never gained anything, and then February, and then I think March 2001. It's on the headlines on WWF.com. WWF purchases WCW.
Yeah. But before we get there, we got to talk about that one channel changing moment. That was really the nail in the coffin. When
what are we talking?
When it was a pre-recorded Raw, and Mick Foley defeated The Rock for the title.
Oh
and
right, yeah, that was like that was in late '99. I wasn't gonna.
Yeah, but still, that was a major. That how can we not talk about that before we jump into this?
Yeah, because honestly too, because it's very interesting where that was the same night as the Finger Poke of Doom.
Exactly. Like that's why I meant to bring it up when we were talking about it, but then we got segued into another
But
epic.
yeah, and also it's still crazy to think about that. Even early as '99, they still had episodes taped of Raw. I can
They was
understand it was also around the holidays too, but
right,
just
right.
that
But
they do that on taped Raw, and then you have Eric Bischoff or tell Tony Schiavone
thinking
on Nitro, tell the
right,
fans what's going to happen on Raw on the other
thinking it was
channels.
something. Like he really thought that he was gonna have one over
Like he thought people. I'm trying to think. What was his like for people like not to turn the channel?
and not to turn the channel. Meanwhile, everybody was like, "Oh shit,
What did he just say? Hold on, let me go see if that's true.
Mick Foley wins. He defeats The Rock." Like,
Yeah,
I changed the channel. I was like, "Oh, I gotta watch that." I go like
right.
The Rock was at that time my favorite, so I'm like, "Oh hell no, wait."
But yeah, they would do stupid shit like that all the time until their final days, where they just constantly reference the competition.
Exactly. They just kept shooting themselves in the foot, thinking that they were gonna get over, and people were just so. I don't want to use Trump as a reference, but it's kind of like how anytime Trump tries to talk about something, people are like anytime an assassination attempt happens on Trump, no one buys it. Everybody's like, yeah, okay, whatever. That's a setup. That's how that kind of felt like. Anytime WCW would try to one over on WWF, the fans no longer fell for it.
Right.
No, they were like, stop your bullshit and just focus on your own fucking product.
But yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff in WCW. There's like too much to talk about, but just a lot of nonsense in between the years. But again,
Yeah,
March 2001, WWF purchases WCW, where
crazy.
when you tune into Nitro, the first thing you see is Vince McMahon.
Yes.
And
Both channels showing the same exact footage.
I believe this is also the first simulcast too of this history.
Yes. That
And
was crazy. And Shane coming out to WCW ring.
But I also want to mention the fact of Vince publicly firing Jeff Jarrett on national television.
Bro. It was like everybody's instant messenger blew up.
Yeah, AIM was on fire that night.
It was on fire that night. Like, are you watching? Are you watching? Are you watching? Oh my god, what's going on? It was insanity because it never imagined something like this would ever happen.
And it's kind of crazy. I'm sorry, what did you say?
No, I was gonna say you would never imagine that WWF would outright buy the competition, acknowledge their existence the way they had to. Like it just was like no. It was almost like seeing Hulk Hogan turn heel all over again. It was like, what? No, this is not happening. No way.
And it's kind of crazy how the last Nitro goes off the air with the one thing they built this whole company around, Sting and Flair.
Yeah.
And I know Flair later on, a couple years afterwards, when like the death of WCW, like those DVDs were coming out, and he was like he was very happy to see WCW dead. But I think what he remembers of WCW is the early NWA's type of stuff. Like those days, he misses. The stuff afterwards, he wishes could be a fucking blimp, like he never existed. Because those years with him, because I mean, this was like bleak times with Flair, where they would bring his family on TV a lot of the time. His little son Reed was brought in. They tried to push his son David to be a star.
Did not want to be a wrestler at all.
Yeah,
poor kid. He stuck out like a sore thumb. That's poor kid.
Yes,
I can honestly tell you, watching him, I was like my heart would break for him.
Like you knew he didn't want to do this.
Yeah, he had to bleach his hair blonde so he could look like his dad. He was not in wrestling shape at all. He looked like a sad puppy in the ring the whole time.
And you could just tell how much Ric Flair, loved being out there with his other son Reed.
Yeah,
because Reed was the wrestler.
Right, Reed had the potential, poor kid.
Yeah, it's very weird to see like a young Charlotte on those WCW shows.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, but she's
shy girl that didn't want to be anywhere near the business.
Yeah, but look at her now. Huh?
Yeah, but and thinking about this, that last Nitro was the last WCW thing ever produced. We've seen a lot of ECW reunion shows. There's not been one WCW reunion
No,
show.
no, not at all. Not no one even thinks about it.
The last time they tried anything WCW related was in the main event on a Monday Night Raw, where Booker T and Buff Bagwell fought for the WCW World Title, and the fans booed it out the building because they didn't understand it. They didn't understand who these guys were.
Yeah,
These were the diehard WWF fans that stayed on this channel or watched this product for all those years, and nobody gave a damn.
they lived in the bubble. Yeah, you know, I always, I think there was an episode where I brought this up. Like when the whole merger happened, right?
Right.
I really hoped that if they were going to do two brands, that they would have kept them separate completely. Like WCW still would have ran as its own promotion and just keep all the guys that they just bought out there. Even though I know people wanted to see those dream matches,
Right.
but just keep them separate and maybe like when it came to like Mania, Survivor Series, the big four, they could have did some sort of forbidden door of that time.
Yeah.
You know?
The big invasion show, the big Survivor Series, if they would have built it correctly or had the money to bring in all these stars for a proper WCW versus WWF storyline, they could have changed the business. That could have been something because a lot of money, a lot of people, like there's a lot of missing stars on the invasion show. Like you had your DDPs, your Booker T's, and then you brought in the ECW guys along the way.
Right.
But we didn't see Goldberg till 2003. We didn't see Scott Steiner until a year afterwards.
Right.
We didn't see the NWO till February.
Right. Exactly.
But
You
then
know.
the fortunate thing of the guys that stayed the longest in WCW eventually got jobs. Like Chuck Palumbo became a mainstay in WWE as like an undercard guy. Lance Storm, Rey
Yeah.
Mysterio. Rey Mysterio, when he made the jump to finally sign in 2002, has become one of the biggest names in wrestling to this day, even like for Lucha Libre and American wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other guys too, like the Big Show, Chris Jericho, who made the jump from WCW to the WWF, had a better run. But again, it was just one of those things where everybody had a start in WCW, but had better standing outside of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they kind of had no choice but to try. Obviously there was nowhere else for them to go eventually. Um, it it felt like trying to put my words together here. Like when they came in, they were a lot of them were kind of just in the beginning kind of buried a little bit. Not maybe in the ring, but like their characters were kind of buried. Like, oh,
Yeah,
you're more superior than the WCW guys, right?
of course, because that's Vince's ego
Exactly.
taking control.
Instead of
I do want to do one correction.
Yeah.
That when they never reference anything WCW related, scratch that. WrestleMania 31, when Sting finally joins the company, and it's supposed to be a vigilante thing where it's like, okay, he finally made the jump. Why is he here?
right,
Facing Triple H at WrestleMania 31. He's fighting for the name of WCW.
right,
This is 2015.
yeah,
WCW died in 2001.
right,
But it's also one of those things, too, where Vince's ego has to fucking step in again, where it's like, it could have been an easy win for Sting. Just beat Triple H on your first WrestleMania and probably your only WrestleMania, and you have him fucking lose. That was the final nail.
That wasn't really like 31. What year was that? 15, you said, right?
2015. Yeah, 2015,
So I
2016.
was still like in and out wavering,
Right.
but I watched that Mania because I wanted to see Sting defeat Triple H. I wanted like he's finally there. He's finally there after all the years that he was like, no, not going. And he was in TNA. doing his thing in TNA. He did his thing in TNA. He made a huge, his career was fantastic there. And you would think, no, now he's in WWE. He's gonna just continue with this amazing career. It's like,
But also think about it too. He comes to WWE. We're finally gonna get the dream match: Sting versus the Undertaker. Triple H. Like, I don't hate him like as you do, but it was also like, why? Why him?
Right. That's what I said too. Like, why gotta be Triple H? Like that was my reaction. Like, it always has to be Triple H. Always has.
And then during that match, guess who comes out? DX and the NWO.
Of course.
And then, of course, it's the like you have Triple H and Sting like shake hands, and then it's like that's it.
That was it.
That was the end of WC fucking W.
Buried completely, burned to the crisp. And then you have Sting, and you think, okay, you have Sting. I mean, yeah, he lost to Triple H, but you have Sting.
And then one bad injury, and it's over. Yeah, that's another day to talk about. But we're going very long on this. But just
we are.
Final thought. I'll give my final thoughts and then give it to you for closing thought. In simple terms, in the simplest of terms for everybody modern to understand, WCW ran. No, WCW. WCW ran, so AEW can as well.
Right. Because
at the end of the day, as much as everybody grew up being a WWF fan, and over the years people have been in and out as fans, whichever year you tune in, there always has to be a solid number two.
Absolutely.
Or not even a solid number two. A better word would be another option.
Yes.
Because if you didn't like the WWF, if you didn't like the Attitude Era, you had WCW and all their shenanigans if you liked it on a week-to-week basis.
You had ECW.
If nowadays, people that are not happy with WWE being sellouts or just being all about the mighty dollar, AEW is there for you as well.
Absolutely. And they're giving, that, whew, man, it's like, for me, I always had love for WCW. Even though I was a major WWF fan growing up, I always had love for WCW for that reason. It was something different to watch. As a kid, I could watch, at home on a Saturday night because I'm a little kid. Where am I going at 11 years old, right? I'm not going out. I got to watch WCW. It was something different to watch because I would watch at the time WWF in the morning, the Superstars of Wrestling, and then in the night I would watch WCW Saturday night. And I got my fill, and it was a different feel altogether. And it kind of like it completed the circle, right? It was fun to watch, and a lot of people, WCW sucks. I'm like, have you watched it though? Now, fast forward all these years later, we see the same thing happening with people like, AEW sucks. Are you watching?
Exactly.
What are you watching? Because you can't even tune into Raw, and you only get 3 matches.
And 10-minute commercials.
And 10-minute commercials, whereas if you put on Dynamite, it starts off with a match. It starts off with what should be the main event. They started off with the world title championship match. Like, you don't see that happen anywhere else.
Well, yeah.
You watch it, you put it on, and that's it. You're hooked. You can't go. I mean, we see AEW, like you said, it's trying to keep that tradition going of being an option, of being a number 2 option. If you're not happy with what's going on this channel, what the hell's going on outside? Anyway.
It's like a rain.
That's what it is. Do you hear that? Things are flying around the backyard.
Yeah, hurry up. Let's come on, wrap it up.
A garbage can was flying. New York, everybody. Our weather has been wild lately. But like AEW is keeping that tradition going of being an option. An option for people who don't want to watch what's going on with the E. They want to watch something else. And they gladly talk about that. They gladly promote themselves as that. You know, they love acknowledging the history of wrestling on TBS. This is how all of this started. It all started with TBS. It all started with Ted Turner.
Yeah.
Wanting to keep that wrestling rating up. You know? So we have that time-honored tradition still going on. All these years, we still have wrestling on TBS. We still have that option to turn to that channel. You know?
Yeah. But that seems to be it. That's it for pretty much WCW. We covered a lot here, but there was still so much to go cover.
Yeah.
But if anybody wants to go back and watch some WCW stuff, it's on the YouTube channel. They have their own WCW Vault channel that is successful as well.
Yeah, they like watch parties sometimes there.
Exactly. Old Nitros as well. They're not going to show the bad ones, but they're going to show some good ones. But that's up to you if you want to take your time to watch those.
Yeah,
but
there was some good stuff. There was a lot of good stuff.
But everybody, thank you for joining in on New York Wrestle Media. Like, comment, subscribe. The channel, please tap the subscribe button. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers as of recording this. Jay is settling into his new place of living, and he will be back for Turnbuckle Tabloid and all that fun other stuff. Is Press Save with Santy, all the other stuff. Yeah. Me and him will have to eventually go back with the Howard Stern watch-alongs. That's definitely a lot of stuff here on the channels to keep an eye on. All right, where can everybody go and follow us on the socials?
You can follow us at Instagram, History and Headlocks. We've been, slowly adding more content to our posts. Thank you for all the follows that we've been getting lately and all the eyes on our posts and views. We're gonna start throwing some more stuff up there, and you can also find us at New York Wrestle Media, which is our home away from home. Yeah. And over there you'll find a lot more different types of wrestling content, more modern stuff, and just keep an eye on things because there's a lot of things coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of that, previously I had mentioned what our next episode after the discussion of WCW was going to be, but we are going to hold that one off due to historical significance. So the Benoit episode will have to be on postponement for till next year, everybody. So everybody mark your calendars for that. But next episode, we're going to cover pretty much a one episode retrospective on one superstar. It's pretty much not going to be long, but we're going to be able to talk extensively about the man who changed the landscape in WCW, funny enough, who pretty much became the man. And the question is who's next? It's Bill Goldberg here on History and Headlocks. And after what Ari said earlier, I can already tell how that one's going to go.
Oh, I got a lot to say.
Yeah, we're going to talk about his WCW run, and then eventually when he makes it to the WWE and how happy and angry he was at the same time.
Interesting.
So next time, again, like, comment, subscribe on New York Wrestle Media. The socials, please follow. And everybody, class is dismissed. Thank you for joining in this long episode. Not meant to be long, but we wanted to give you guys something very special since
I don't think it
the last
could
review.
have been anything but long, considering a lot of topics to talk about.
So again, class is dismissed, but also, guys, let's go Knicks.
Sit, turn type, sit. Good boy. Ruff.